How's it going, guys? Luke here from the invrsns page, and decided to go ahead and start making additional content. As you grow on social media, it's super important that you start to diversify the different types of content that you make. You can't stick to just one platform. For the most part, it's pretty difficult to grow only on one platform. You have to diversify where you're posting. And so now I'm branching out to YouTube. Dude, why not? I really enjoy what I've been doing. I've been spending a lot of time working on different videography shots, different not angles, but like different things. You know, dude, why not? It's something super enjoyable for me. So again, why not? Anyway, for me, I decided this channel is specifically going to revolve around bass playing gear. You know, bass doesn't get enough love as it is, and so I want to take these antiquated views of, oh, guitar players are the best, and we're gonna start shifting that. Bass players are the best, and we already know this, so why not go ahead and start saying this? We're gonna say hard to talk about subjects. We're gonna make definitive statements on this channel, because that's what's important, being able to say this is the best for me. Why not? You know, it may hurt some feelings along the way, but the best thing to do is say definitive statements. What we're going to be talking about today is line 6, HX Stomp here. I know it's been talked about a lot, but I really do think that this is probably the best piece of gear a bassist could have in general, besides like their bass. The HX Stomp offers so many different possibilities as to routing options, effect types, that whether you're a beginner or you are like pretty advanced on the different types of things that you're looking for, it makes it a whole lot easier for you to experiment and try new things that most pieces of gear don't offer you. So today, what we're going to be doing is I've created 3 different presets for this, for the different varying levels as to these are things that you can do. Why would you pick this over multiple different pedals? And honestly, we're going to start breaking some hearts today. So let's go ahead and switch on over to that view. Okay, so now that I've moved over to my computer here, you can see what's actually going on in the HX Stomp through the HX editor, which is like right over here. So I have 3 different presets, like I said, different varying levels of difficulty depending on how deep you want to get into the programming and everything. But basically, for any intro person, there are 3 main effects that any bass player needs. That's going to be compression, drive, and EQ. So with these, you can pretty much have any professional rig just with those 3 things and have a great sounding bass without too much stress. If you look at the end here, I have this little send. What I'm doing with that is it's going from my Stomp to my Dark Glass Atom, and then the XLR out on the Atom is what's coming to the computer. So this would be my just dry bass tone. So yeah, just dry bass tone, you know, nothing too crazy there, right? So first, what we're gonna look at is the compressor. These are the compressor settings. I basically just dragged and dropped in there. So this is what it sounds like with the compressor. Okay, so that's it being compressed. So uncompressed. And then compressed again. Okay, so those are the 2 basic sounds that you go for. If you look here at your bypass controller, you can see that foot switch 1, I just have it turning that compressor on or off. If you aren't the type of person to just use compression all the time, you just set bypass for the compressor. Okay, so that's the first block that I dropped in there. The second block that I dropped in is this distortion, which if we pull this up, this is the Obsidian 7000. Basically, it's based on that Dark Glass B7K, and these are the settings that I have for this right now. I wasn't trying to get too in depth with it. As you can see here, though, this is counting as both my drive and my EQ. So here's what I have for my distorted tone here. Okay, so that's what it adds. If you look here, you see that I have my master and my distortion. Oh, well, my distortion was turned off for that one. So let's turn it on now and do the same thing. So like I was saying with this, I have it set for the foot switch to control both of those, because I don't really want my EQ to ever be turned off. So what it's doing is just taking the distortion circuit out and bumping up the level to match basically whatever I'm at. So here's with the distortion circuit again. That's a very nice sounding bass tone for 2 stomps. If you aren't really the type of person to really get into programming, this would be enough. So now we're in our bass 2002 course. Once you get comfortable with programming those 2 minor things, you can get more in depth with whatever it is that we're doing. So for example, I still have the studio comp. You can see that it's pretty much the exact same settings, because all I did was drag and drop. I think Line 6 did a superb job with this one, or not with this one, but like this is the compressor that I use. Alright, so distortion wise, this time I changed over to the Zero bass, which is their SansAmp model. And before I put that amp in, this is basically just compressor to SansAmp. Alright, so that's the basic SansAmp tone there. Okay, so what I did this time was I went in and I added an amp. Okay, this is the SVT, the bright channel. Those are the settings that I came up with for this. So again, basically I just dragged and dropped, because for bass it's a bunch of EQing. It sounds pretty decent. So So now that we've worked into amps and like figuring out what we want to do amp wise, this leaves you open for any sort of fun effects that you may want. So for example, what I did here was I added this delay, and I just did a very simple delay. Whenever you drag and drop this one, I think they put the low cut at like 155. That doesn't really work for us because we're playing the low notes. So it was just dropping everything, and it sounded like it was coming through like a can almost. So I dropped that low cut back, and then here is a idea of like a delay type sound that you could do with this. Okay, so just a very nice simple delay, but I was able to do that. Maybe I don't like the delay, so now I can go and I can exit out of that. Oh, nope, didn't like delay. So let's say I want to go try this script mod phaser. Okay, rate, mix, actually like super slow phasers, so like same sound. So yeah, so like it gives you a lot of flexibility of like trying out different sounds to see what fits the song, what fits the mood, like what are you trying to build, right? So once you get comfortable with like just dropping in things the way that they are, then you can go in and start like fine tuning everything that you're looking for. So the last one that I have here is this graduate course bass thing, and this is where it really gets fun, especially like once you figure out the basics. So if you look here, I'm gonna turn this one off. Okay, so what I have is this crazy rig. Basically what it's doing is I start with my compressor. This time I picked the red squeeze one just to give it a little bit of diversity instead of always picking that one. But here's the just main tone that I have. Let's see. Okay, so that's like just that bass tone. So one thing that I did first, we have a crossover frequency. So what that means is that everything above 450 hertz basically is being run through the rat and the dark glass. Okay, so but everything below that 450 is staying clean. Okay, so and then they merge back together, they form your bass sound, but like it has that separation. One thing that the bypass controller does is whenever I click on my dirt, okay, it turns the rat off and turns the dark glass on. Yeah, so basically it's just giving me two different sounds. Okay, so okay, so I can have these two different types of bass drive for one like preset basically. Okay, and then the other thing that I did with this, and for me personally, I just like using the rat. Like that to me is just great bass. But anyway, one of the other things that I did was on foot switch 1 you see here, I put a bass octave pedal, which is, I don't know which one is modeling. Basically, if you look at it though, it to me it kind of looks like the MXR bass overdrive, the blue one, like not the mini one but the bigger one. So they have that, and then I also added this Muden filter, which I guess is a Mutron filter. And so if you do that, it just gives it like this nice little synthy sound. So one foot switch controls the synth, the other one controls like which dirt I'm using. And then as you can see here, I picked this SVT Pro, I did some EQing to it, and then I also picked this cab. I just picked an 8x10 cab. So yeah, just a bunch of different things that you can do within this one software setting. All right, so let's go on back to the full view. This right here, this has to be like one of the best purchases I've ever made. Honestly, like this pedal has been around way longer than any of my other ones. It's just because it's so versatile, it's so useful. Like you can really do a bunch of different things with it, and if you aren't liking what you have, you know what, you got 4,000 different options that you can go through and try to adjust to fine tune to your liking. Anyone who doesn't like it or is saying that, oh no, like you can't use it for everything, hasn't spent enough time with it to actually use it. If for someone who likes to change things very frequently, that may just be exactly what you need to keep you from buying gear and keep you more focused on creating and enjoying music. Anyway guys, that's going to be all for this video. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down below, or come find me on Instagram and I'll be more than happy to answer them there. Until next time though, peace.